on. There we go. Okay, so here we go. I can see some names. I'm just going to double check because sometimes the pronunciation may change and I'm not 100% sure. So if you could just say hi, your name, so I can get that pronunciation right. Uh,
My name is
Hussein?
Hossein. Hossein. Yes.
Hossein. Okay, are you a teacher already, Hossein?
Yes, I've been teaching for several years now.
Okay, and you teach English?
Yes, yes.
And what levels do you teach? What is the purpose of your teaching? Your main
Uh, uh, I've been focusing honestly on teaching IELTS for the last few years, but I've taught at different levels. So
okay.
basic
IELTS is quite
levels.
a challenge, definitely, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Very nice to have you here, Hussein.
Thank you
Did I
very
get
much.
that?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Well, Dorothy, I think we're okay. I can get that. Hello, Dorothy.
Hello, hi. I'm
Hi.
Dorothy. Yeah, I'm in
Okay.
Canada.
Oh,
I'm not
wonderful.
teaching. Yeah, I'm not teaching at the moment, and I taught kids and adults before, and I'm doing the TESOL, teaching Chinese diploma.
Okay, wonderful. So, thank you so much. It's wonderful to have you here.
Nice
And
to meet
let's,
you.
nice to meet you too. Farah, please.
Hi, I'm located in Vancouver. I'm a head teacher at a Montessori school. I'm looking at transitioning into teaching adults, having worked with early childhood for too long.
Okay. And do you plan to continue teaching early childhood?
Uh, yeah, at least for the next year or so while I transition.
Okay, wonderful. And I got that right, Farah?
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you. Madi?
Hello, I'm
Hello.
Maida.
Did I get that right?
Yes, Maida.
Madi is the correct pronunciation, right?
Yes.
Wonderful. And are you a teacher, Madi?
No, I'm not a teacher.
You plan to teach then?
Yes, yes.
Wonderful. And will you be teaching in an English speaking country or in a non-English speaking country?
No English. Speaking.
Yes, English, but in an English speaking country like Canada or in
No,
a
no.
non, where do you plan to teach English?
Um. Maybe yes, Canada. I like it.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, Madi. It's great to have you here with us.
Thank you
Mosh,
so much.
thank you. Hello, Mosh.
Hello, my name is Mosh. Yeah, properly.
Hello.
I've been teaching English as a second language, but to children in secondary schools, and I've been working as an examiner for IELTS Cambridge. But now I want to transition to teaching adults English as a second language, so that's why I'm taking the TESOL course. I'm in Canada at the moment.
Okay. How long have you been an examiner for IELTS?
I examined for about 7 years, but I expired last year, so that was the end of it.
Okay, okay. It's quite a task, isn't it? But were you also an IELTS teacher or only examiner?
I wasn't teaching because you're not supposed to examine and teach at the same time. So I was just
Yeah, you can't.
examining. Yes. So I haven't taught. So now when I finish the course, I hope to teach IELTS since I'm no longer examining.
Okay, wonderful. And in Canada, is that it?
Yes. Yes.
Wonderful. Great to have you here with us, Mosh.
Thank you. Nice to meet you too.
Tamara, hello.
Hey, hello. My name is Samara, and I'm here because we received this invitation, but I think it's not just for me because I'm not a teacher. And
Okay.
our director was not able to attend, so he sent me, but I thought it was on the admin side. So I'm sorry about that.
Don't worry.
That is now, I think.
Okay,
Thank
then, well,
you.
today it is a teaching session of essay writing and research project. So you're
Thank you.
free to stay and enjoy the class. And
Thank you.
thank
I'll
you so
see
much
you
for
later.
being. Okay,
Thank you.
wonderful. Okay, so all of you have been through, already the classes of methods and so on. Today we're going to focus on if you were teaching students essay writing, okay? Now, essay writing, there are several types of essays. There are essays when we teach for IELTS purposes, which is a completely different ballgame. When you teach high school students, when you teach university students, so there are different essay styles. When we're dealing with IELTS in particular, we will have a session for IELTS. Today we're dealing with essay writing as a general activity that you could teach in high school or elementary, secondary, and even in university. And then afterwards, as time allows, we'll also go into research project writing, okay? So I'm going to share my screen here with you guys. The material that I use today, I'll send to Dr. Siavashi so he can share with you as well, because there are references that can be helpful. The slides also, I'll send them out in regular PPT so that sometimes you can, use and share some of the material that is here. I really believe in sharing because we have so much to do. And I think that if we can share, it really takes off a big load from us. So feel free when you receive the material to use it and share it and as if it were your own. So now we're going to go into essay writing. Do you guys write essays on a regular basis?
I don't. Not on a
No.
regular basis.
Not on a regular basis, okay? Does anybody else here write essays? Not really, okay. So if you were to write an essay today, would you be prepared to write an essay, do you believe? Probably, right? But
Yes.
maybe not as quickly and as objectively as you could, because there are some strategies. How would you begin your essay? You have a topic. What is the first step when you have a topic?
Plan.
There you go. That's it, Mosh. Perfect. And you know that many students, you will find that they are very reluctant to plan. They feel that it's a waste of time. But little do they know that, in fact, it's a gain of time when they plan. So analyzing and planning, we have to kind of like convince them because they're very resistant. They feel that they just will waste time if they plan. So here we go. So the first step is to understand that the essay, it has a standard. Once again, we're not dealing with IELTS, with PTE, TOEFL here. This is a regular 5-paragraph essay that we would use in high school, basically an argumentative essay many times. It can also be a descriptive, but the basic structure will always be 5 paragraphs. So, and we start with the introduction. So the introduction, you begin with a hook. Now, this hook, it's an expression that depending the author that you refer to, he will use different words to define hook. But the main function of the introduction, it is to inform your reader the main topic that will be discussed, but without the discussion point yet. The discussion, what will be discussed, is in the thesis statement. So that first sentence, it's for you to tell your reader, this is the main topic, but you don't put it in that sentence. You make a neutral sentence informing the reader the main topic. In order to do so, you need to analyze the essay prompt. We'll get to that in a few minutes. The thesis statement, it's where you clearly state your position as a writer. You inform what will be discussed, and then you state your position. the last sentence, it's a brief outline on how you will support your thesis. If it's going to be argumentative, if you're going to use, so you will do a brief outline. This essay will discuss how or why environmental damage should be dealt with in order to reduce the harm. So you will inform how you will develop your thesis here. You made your thesis, you have stated your position, and then you will briefly, because of course you will develop your ideas in the body paragraphs. So as a scheme, introduction has the thesis statement, the first body paragraph, the second body paragraph, third body paragraph, and the conclusion. So basically it's a quick scheme. There are more elements, but this is a big overview of what you will be doing. So let's take a look here. Here's an example for us to, I like examples because I think it becomes more understandable. So the thesis statement that we have here is that raising children nowadays presents many challenges for parents. So this is the thesis statement that we are going to be dealing with. So I'm still having trouble here with one little detail. Hold on. So if we read the first, you will see that body paragraph 1, 2, and 3. We have a topic sentence. This topic sentence, it will come after we have analyzed and planned. But we're going to do a little activity now that it says, topic sentence 1. One of the biggest challenges that parents face in raising of children today is the internet. So the idea here is that the internet is one of the biggest challenges. In body 2, we're going to bring another challenge that parents and caregivers face today is the pressure for their children to succeed both in school and in extracurricular activities. In paragraph 3, we're going to do the topic sentence. Adding to the challenge faced by parents today is a radical change in attitudes regarding discipline compared to the past. If you were to guess or to elaborate a prompt for this thesis statement, what would it be based on the information you have here? How would you elaborate this prompt? I'll give you guys 3 minutes to think about it. You can use the chat box to send in suggestions. So what would be the prompt of this essay?
So could you elaborate on the meaning of?
Of course, because I have given the thesis statement, but the thesis statement, it comes based on a prompt. So a prompt has been given, kind of like, what are the advantages and disadvantages? How can parents, or what are the main problems and solution? What are the main problems that parents face nowadays in upbringing their children? What are the possible solutions? So what would be a prompt appropriate for this thesis statement?
Just what are the main challenges or main problems that parents face these days to raise their children? Something like that.
Okay, that would be one. Would we have something like discuss the main problems?
Yes, why not?
We would, right? So discuss the challenge like Mosh. Discuss the challenges that parents face in raising children in today.
Yes.
That would be one possible. How else could we bring this? We could make a statement and then a question, right? Many parents face problems raising their children nowadays due to several factors. What are these factors, right? Or what are the factors that challenge parents when bringing up their children? So we would need verbs like discuss, okay, Farah, that would be a great title, I would say, right? The complexity parents face when raising children today. So in order for it to be a prompt, it would be, you would have to have discuss the main factors or the main aspects, the main problems. We would need more instructions. As teachers, we constantly have to elaborate questions. So elaborating the question is also part of being a teacher. So here we wouldn't have to have verbs like discuss, what are, explain. We could also have
Look into.
look into, very good, that's it. Okay, let's go to another one. So this is a thesis statement. Students writing an academic essay need to consider many stages. So the topic sentence here would be, the first two stages are related to pre-writing and organizing thoughts and ideas related to the topic. The topic sentence for body two would be the third and fourth stages in the writing process are the most important ones. And then in body three, the topic sentence would be the fifth stage is also important since it provides the writer one final chance to review the paragraphs and check for clarity, mechanics, and structure. Based on these two examples, what is the function of topic sentences?
The topic sentence gives you an idea or a summary of what the paragraph is going to be about.
There you go. So it introduces the main idea that the paragraph will develop. And this is crucial in terms of coherence and making your writing clear to the writer. We have to remember that when we teach our students writing, writing has to be independent. Because when we're talking, if two people are talking and one person doesn't understand what the other person has said, there's going to be some kind of, facial expression to show, or the person can just say, please, just like Hussein did now, can you elaborate, please? But the writing, no, the reader will have to read and understand 100% everything that is being proposed, explained, and discussed, because the writer is not there to clarify any points. So that's why coherence is key. And the coherence starts with analyzing, planning, and topic sentences. So in the introductory paragraphs, so we have that first paragraph. It says, do's and don'ts. I would like you now to read, and you're going to tell me if it is correct or if it is wrong, each statement. So the first one, do, give the reader the best first impression possible. Would you say this is correct or incorrect?
Incorrect.
Correct?
Yes.
Yes.
You want to attract your reader to read whatever you as the writer you have written. So yes, it is correct. Let's go to the next one, please.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Everybody agrees with a yes here?
Yes.
Okay, the third statement,
Yeah, correct.
okay, correct too. Now let's go to don't.
Yes, you shouldn't use the passive voice.
You can use or you can't, sorry.
You should use active voice. You can't.
So this is correct too.
Correct.
Correct? Okay. So this is a little, summary, just to kind of like explain to the students how we develop it. I like the strategies of do and don't. I think it's helpful for students to use this strategy. Now, when we say don't use I, once again, we're dealing with an essay that it is structured for high school tasks. If you're taking, for example, PTE, they expect you to put in your opinion. And depending the IELTS question as well. So once again, this is a general structure for essay writing, not necessarily for any specific test type. Okay? Moving on. So this is an introduction. This is an essay question. I would like you to read, and then I'll have some questions to ask you. Can you find the thesis statement in this introduction?
It's for proof of this, consider examples from both science and everyday experience.
Okay. So it says, the first sentence, it's that attractive sentence, right? To attract your reader. So no man is an island, and as such, he is constantly shaped and influenced by his experiences. Would you say that this sentence really focuses on the main topic that is being asked in the essay question?
No, I think the second one is the thesis.
The second sentence is a thesis sentence, right? People
Yes,
learn by
that's
doing and accordingly learn considerably more from their mistakes than their success. So when we read the sentence, what can we understand is going to be developed in this essay?
um, the contrast of what happens when you make a mistake and what you learn and gather from that experience, as opposed to when you do something successful.
Exactly. And if we look at the prompt, it says, do we learn more from finding out that we have made mistakes or from our successful actions? So it's going to compare mistakes and successful actions. Now the writer, what is the writer's position? That they learn more from mistakes than, because you have here the or. Or is a very important word in the prompt. Somehow the writer will have to choose one side, right? He will have to support his point of view, finding out that we have made mistakes or from our successful actions. How do we learn more? And this writer says, no, we learn more from mistakes or people in general, right? For proof of this, now this last sentence, what is the purpose of this sentence? What do we expect to find in this essay now?
Just two examples for science and everyday experience.
So there will be examples to support the writer's opinion that mistakes teach us more than success. So then the writer is going to support himself or herself on science and experience, bringing in examples and statements. Excellent. Would you consider this a good introduction?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, it's a nice introduction, right? No personal pronouns, I, you. It has the three major points that all introductions should have. Okay, so if you were to write this introduction, what would be the first step before writing the introduction? Would you plan before or after the introduction?
Before.
Of course, because in fact, the introduction is the result of what you have planned. The student can only write what he will do, science, experience, and his position, if he has analyzed and planned his essay. If not, he can't do his writing. So let's take a look now and let's see how we can convince our students that planning is essential. So we have the body paragraphs now. The main purpose of a body paragraph is to support your thesis. So you bring in a topic sentence, then you explain, you have an example or evidence, and then you have an effect, like a consequence or a result that this point will have on the discussion, and a concluding sentence to wrap up the paragraph. So this is a very basic body paragraph, but it works and it's expected. Now in body paragraphs, again, I would like you to read the do and don't and just tell me if it's okay or not.
Yes, it's correct.
Correct, okay. And the second point of do?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and the don't?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, how can we avoid and how can we help the students not to be too general? Right here. Insist on explanatory details and examples. That's the best strategy to avoid being general. Is teaching them and emphasizing the importance of. And this you will get when you plan. That's how you will get it. Moving on. So this is a body one paragraph. Two tasks I would like you to find here. Based on this paragraph, can you identify the structure? So this is the structure that we're looking for. The topic, explain, example, effect, and concluding sentence. Is it necessarily in the right order? Have you seen a slight change in the order of the sentences?
Yes, the example is the beginning.
Okay, so here we go. So we start off with the example. And is it okay to start the paragraph with an example?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, but how do we know what this paragraph will discuss? Would it be the most coherent and the best strategy for the reader to be informed and in terms of coherence?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily, right? Okay, so we do have an example sentence here. Can you identify what would be a topic sentence? Or if you could restructure this, how would you do it?
Maybe Thomas Edison.
Sorry?
Thomas Edison, the famed American inventor, encountered many failures along before he was successful.
Exactly. We could even kind of like maintain the information that he was an American inventor, the prominence in the late, but we would first of all maybe take this sentence down, right? We could take just this sentence out because in fact, the real example, where's the real example of this paragraph? Or evidence, because it can be example or evidence, right?
He did not succeed in his work.
That's it. So we would go Thomas Edison, comma, right? The famed American inventor rose to prominence in the late 19th century because of his successes. Yes, but even he felt that these successes were the result of his many failures. So if we consider this now as a topic sentence, what will this paragraph discuss? What can we understand?
So that's the main point, and then the next sentence is actually where you're giving supporting evidence.
That's it. So he did not succeed. So now he's explaining, right? So here the topic sentence informs that we're going to work with successes, but also that are a result of failures. So exactly going along with that topic with the thesis statement that yes, we succeed more, but by like based on mistakes than on success. So he says that his success is the result of failures. And then he'll explain that he did not succeed in his work in one of his most famous inventions, the light bulb, or on her first try. So then this is your explanation. In fact, now comes the evidence, right? And then the last sentence here.
That wraps it up.
That's it. Is there an effect sentence here?
Can you repeat the question, please?
The effect sentence. So we identified the topic, we identified the explained sentence, the concluding sentence, and even the evidence. Is there an effect sentence? If we eliminate this sentence here, for example, as he himself said, and just jump over to thus, Edson demonstrated both in thought and action how instructive mistakes can be. What would happen if we eliminated this sentence here? As he himself said,
That would be the sentence that goes.
that is the effect sentence, exactly. So what is the result? So what is an effect sentence? What is the result? What is the impact of the evidence showed? So if it took him more than 1,000 attempts. Now, what is the impact of this? What is the consequence of this? In order to produce our effect sentence, we ask, as a writer, we ask ourselves, so what is the impact here? What is the consequence? And that's how we get the effect sentence. It's referring back to your evidence or to your example, of course, combined with the explained sentence, and asking this question: what is the impact of this? What is the consequence of this? What is the result of this? And then we bring in Thomas Edison's sentence when he says, I did not fail 1,000 times, but instead succeeded in finding 1,000 ways it would not work. Okay? Is this a nicely organized paragraph now that we have eliminated this first sentence? Take by way of example.
Not really.
It looks good, doesn't it? So let's move on. As I said, later on, you will receive all of this, that you can go through it again and analyze it. Okay, linking devices. We should use and we should teach students how to use transition words and phrases. We just have to be careful, because in the future, or for instance, Hussein, who already teaches IELTS, and Farah, who was an examiner, we know that IELTS has a very peculiar way of dealing with transition words, being careful to avoid mechanical markers. So once again, when we're teaching general essay writing, we teach them a strategy, and sometimes when they go to IELTS, they have this usage of language that for IELTS is not the best option, exceeding the use of furthermore, moreover, firstly, secondly. We know that IELTS will kind of rate that as mechanical markers if they are very well. But for essay writing in general, this is what we teach them, right? Firstly, secondly, finally. So the transition words, we have to be sure that we teach according to the purpose of our student. For PT as well, for TOEFL. So each exam has peculiar rules and I would say parameters for the usage of linking devices. Farah, as an examiner, how did you rate these mechanical markers? Firstly, secondly, moreover, furthermore. Was it a positive trend or something that should be avoided? Those essays that avoided these words, would they get better scores? Christine, how do you do teaching your students in IELTS? Do you teach them to avoid these mechanical markers and try to, substitute using linking devices that are not so mechanical?
Yes, I would just say first they shouldn't overuse them. This is very important. And yes, if they are used in their own place, I don't usually say, okay, you don't have to write them. This is not a no. But if they are written in the right place and at the right time, then I would encourage them to use these linking devices.
Okay, the traditional and standard linking devices. Firstly, secondly, okay. Yeah, to a certain extent, if we consider IELTS and the band descriptors, we should try to have a mix and a blend, maybe, transferring to the middle of the sentence instead of beginning the sentence with however, being, shifted to the middle. But for standard essay writing, the rules of don't overuse definitely apply. This is a quick list, and I do believe in lists. I think that it's helpful to students So whenever I'm teaching essay writing, I usually provide them with these lists so that they can understand the different usages and how to, then with practice exercises, how to use them. So you have different types of connecting words, and they should be, aware of the difference. Connecting words, the first thing to teach them, and I think that we know, but of course we have to show them, is that when you choose a connecting device, you have to analyze the relationship between the two sentences or the two ideas that you want to connect. And in order to choose the correct linking device, so you have to be sure that you analyze, is it a contrast? Is it comparison? Is it a cause and effect? So in order for them to use the correct linking device, they have to understand that they need to analyze this relationship between the two sentences or the two ideas that they are connecting. Okay. I would like you to take a quick look at this paragraph and see if all the elements are in the paragraph. Once again, topic, sentence, explain, example, effect, and concluding.
This seems fairly well organized.
Very well connected. Where are the connecting words here?
Likewise, in a similar way.
Few,
We have likewise. Would but be a connecting word?
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay.
would few, if any, be considered a connection?
It is. It is basically a connection for exemplification.
Yeah.
Okay. So we can see, is there an overuse here?
No.
No, I wouldn't say that either. Now, what I like about this example is you can see that in the last sentence, the concluding idea is kind of like connected in a complex sentence with the effect, right? So you cannot make a cake without breaking a few eggs, and likewise. So this is another strategy that I like teaching students, how and when you can use complex sentences and complex structures. So when we're teaching them that idea of topic, sentence, explain, example, effect, and concluding sentence, also showing them that sometimes these two of them can connect in a complex sentence. So that's why the connecting words as well. It will give them the opportunity of extending their sentences, avoiding fragments. Okay, so that's another advantage of the connecting words. It's when, like the but here as well. You have connected the ideas, avoiding two sentences fragmented. So that's another point that we use to teach the value of connecting words. So, moving on. Okay, so the conclusion now, it is you open with a concluding transition, in conclusion, in the end, then you kind of the conclusion is like a paraphrase of part of your introduction and then the restatement of your thesis. So now, this is a prompt that comes from IELTS, but I like the topic. And how would you adapt this now to an essay that is not IELTS? It is a high school essay and you want them to develop the idea of prison sentences. Can you elaborate a prompt that you could use in high school, secondary school as a general essay?
Should it be again a discussion essay to have two parts? Some
Yes,
people say
because
this, some people say that.
that's it. It's a discussion essay. You can use the chat box to send in your suggestions, please.
So it can be something like, I don't know, an agree-disagree essay, like what are the best way to reduce crime? Do you think it's better to give them longer to send them to prison, or there are other ways to deal with it?
Okay,
This is what came to my mind.
I like that too. I don't know about you guys, but whenever I have to prepare tasks and assign tasks to students, I find it hard inspiration. The IELTS topics are some topics that I use to transform them into a task for my university students that I have, that I teach. Because inspiration is something you need to find inspiration somewhere. And the IELTS topics, they're very diverse. So you can really find good ideas to transfer, but then you have to adapt and be prepared and adjust the IELTS prompt into a university or a high school prompt. So we can do analyze. So Mosh suggested, and I use this very frequently. Okay, analyze is a very good one. Okay, this is a very good one too. Let's see. So Farah sent in. Let's take a look. So do the duration of prison sentences help decrease the rate of crime or not? Discuss giving facts to support your answers. Very good. So would this be a good essay for the students to work on?
Yeah, why not?
Yes, okay. If we want to make it maybe more local, we can ask them to analyze newspaper reports or analyze statistics, right? Because we want them to discuss based on facts. So here we can go discuss giving facts. So analyze statistics available online to support your answer, providing the sources. That would be another way to ask you to encourage your students to do research and to analyze and bring in facts that are updated, that will encourage them to do some research. Because differently from testing, when the student does an essay in high school or university, they have the opportunity to do research and to elaborate their ideas and develop their ideas, right? So here, that's another point that we can think of, encouraging them to use infographics or official statistics available online, and asking them to cite their sources. Are there any other suggestions for this? If we would go like this, does the time, so if we would go, does the time, let's bring it up here. Does the amount of time a criminal stay in jail? Stay in jail. Stay. Contribute to decreasing the rate of crime. So that would be another way to put it. And then we would say analyze statistics available online to support your answer. Cite the sources consulted, right? Oh, there's a misspelling here in analyze. Let me try to fix this. Oh, sorry. Maybe the chat box would be a better option than this. So does the amount of time a criminal stay in jail? Influence maybe would be a better word. Influence, no. What'd you say, influence or contribute?
Contribute is a better one.
I think so too, right? So does the amount of time a criminal stay in jail contribute to decreasing crimes, to decreasing the rate of crime in society? That could also be. We could add the word society there to have a little bit more of, connection to what we're looking for. And then we would ask them to analyze statistics and data available online to support your answer and cite the references or sources used. Okay. Now that we have the prompt, how would you plan this? So consider the prompt. Would you like me to put the full prompt in the chat box, or did you guys get that?
So if you have it available, just put it in the chat.
I'll get it done for sure. So does the amount of time a criminal stay in jail contribute Decreasing. Data. Site. Sources. Consulted. There we go. I put it in the chat box.
Thank you.
So remember that when we plan, we have to think of the structure, introduction, body 1, body 2, conclude, body 3, and conclusion. When we plan, we don't really have to think of so much introduction and conclusion, but basically para 1, para 2, and para 3.
So we change this discussion essay to a kind of agree disagree essay. So the first thing I think should say
That's
whether we
true, huh?
agree.
See. Yeah, we
whether
changed
we
it to
agree or
agree,
not.
disagree. Yeah, so we changed we have to reconsider this maybe. Good point.
But that's fine. This is an agree disagree essay. So first of all, we
Yeah.
should think of whether we agree or disagree with this statement, and then we come up with our claims. If we agree, why? If we disagree, then why?
There we go. Agree or disagree. So once they have decided they agree or disagree, now comes the moment that they will have body 1, right? They will be able to plan now body 1, body 2, and body 3. Oh, body 1, then body 2, and body 3. So if they, and once again, we have to encourage them to take a stand and be prepared to explain their stand. Supporting, in this case, we ask them to support with data and statistics available online. So they would go, so before doing the research online, they have to first agree or disagree and how they're going to discuss this. How are they going to support? Let's suppose they agree. So we agree. Or if they disagree. So there are two ways that the student can go. If you were to write this essay, how would you support in body 1, 2, and 3? What would be your plan here? Roughly, what point would you consider? Body 1, 2, and 3, what information would you look for? What would you do what research would you do online? So I'll give you guys 3 to 4 little minutes, and then you can send your ideas in the chat box. I'm also going to think of my plan here so I can send it in. Any ideas already to send in?
So my plan is agree.
Okay, you
The first
agree. Did you
body
put it
is
in the chat box?
no. And I
No?
will.
You could, that would be nice, because then I can copy and bring it up here. Any other ideas here, please? Mosh, Dorothy, Farah, any ideas to share with us, even if it's not complete? You see that I just kind of like drafted something. Good idea here, Dorothy, I can see. So Dorothy, this would be your first paragraph. How would you break this down?
Say list some facts or the data in your country. Say there are so many people in jail. It's a financial burden to the government as well. And if we and yeah.
Okay. Okay. So this would be all. So that would be like, this would be body one, right?
Yeah.
Is my screen sharing for you? Everyone can see my screen? Yes? Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I can see Hussein has already a point here that to support. So the first body paragraph here would be, so they tend to be older, so they are less likely to reoffend. Typing is so tricky because you know what happens? We don't type anymore without corrector. And in the chat box, there's no corrector. There's no text score. So we don't realize that we're typing. That always happens to me. Okay, so they tend to be older at release and less likely to reoffend. So here you would support the fact of like, would you use statistics data? Would you use maybe what to support this?
Yeah, maybe a statistics, or maybe one example, one specific example of a person.
Like a case study, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, good. Now, what would happen in body 2?
The bottom two is justice is not being served in the eye of public.
Okay, so, and how would you develop this?
Then I may refer to, especially for violent crimes, when it comes to violent crimes, I may refer to a questionnaire that people say if people commit violent crimes, then they must be detained, they must be in prison for a longer time, and if they are free, they might be a danger to society.
Okay, so that was to support, to guarantee this, guarantee safety,
Yes,
something
the
like that.
safety of society.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, let me see if there's anything else in the chat box. Okay. So Farah, here we go, Farah. So Farah brings in with a agree. Farah will agree. Great. Body 1 here. Acts as a means of deterring prevention. Okay. So you can see, even for if we don't really have the habit of planning, how this can be quite daunting, because so what is the best strategy to help planning that I found and that I use a lot? I keep asking myself questions. So the best way, so how did I develop this? So I said, okay, does the amount of time a criminal stay in jail contribute to decreasing crime rates? I disagree. And it doesn't really matter if you agree or disagree, but as long as you support your point of view. So I disagree by saying, but why do I disagree? What are the negative points? So you elaborate, because the more you ask yourself questions, that's how you generate ideas. The key idea of planning is generating ideas. So, okay, so what is one of the negative aspects of prisoners staying a long time in jail? Well, sometimes the offenders may be badly influenced by other inmates. So, and here I would take the example, I would use first-time offenders. So they go there as first-time offenders, and suddenly they become almost professional criminals after a long time exposed, to other inmates who are criminals, in fact. So that would be my first point. So I keep asking myself, but so what is the effect of this? What is the impact of this? Well, upon release, upon release, so the impact of this, the impact is that upon release, most likely they will commit crimes again, because they have learned, they were exposed to the inmates who are criminals. They really became knowledgeable of how to commit crimes. So unless, and now in order to avoid this, what do I say? Well, in prison rehabilitation, so many criminals, they commit crimes to support their drug addiction. Another way to avoid, to reduce crime, is by in-prison education. So you qualify the prisoner to avoid that new crimes are committed. So this is how you can reduce the crime rate. Treating the core problems. So that would be my thesis statement, that treating the core problems is the first step to reducing crime rates. So my thesis is identifying and treating core problems to reduce crime. So that's more or less how I would design my essay. So now, based on your plan, do you think you can manage writing an introduction? But before that, let's try to finish planning. So try to ask yourself these questions. Why is it better? So here, for example, seeing you say, tend to be older at release and less likely to reoffend. Now, why is that? Why does this happen? When you ask yourself why, right away, you have the explain, you will explain. So one idea, and then your writing will be very coherent because you ask yourself questions, you produce, you generate an idea, you move on to the next. So this is the core idea of planning, generating ideas. Writing an essay has basically three main, elements. The first one is generating ideas. The second one is vocabulary, and then sentence structure. If we have to do all these three at the same time, it's very consuming, in terms of mind, and it's very likely that you may miss either vocabulary, you may not really generate vocabulary appropriate. So if you plan, you set aside generating ideas. Once you start writing, your mindset will go into a flow, which will not be interrupted because you don't have to keep generating ideas. And you can focus mostly on vocabulary and sentence structure because your mind is free from generating ideas. That is the great advantage of planning and then writing your essay. Because when we're planning, our mindset is kind of like in a rush mode. If we don't plan, what happens? We think of an idea, we write a sentence. Then we have to think of the next idea. But before writing the next sentence, we'll have to go back and read the previous sentence to be sure that we connect the idea well. If you have a plan, you're only concerned of connecting the ideas using appropriate vocabulary, connectors, and sentence structure. So definitely you will develop your essay better.
Most of the time, the students, especially when it comes to IELTS, the students go off topic because they haven't planned already.
Off topic, definitely. Yeah, because they have a time frame. Here with the students, usually university students and high school students, we work with the first draft. So they present the first draft, then we correct the first draft. We send them back for them to review and incorporate what we have suggested. So that's why planning and asking them to do research. So bring the first draft, correct the first draft with the students, and then move on for them to deliver the final essay then. So that's another step in university and high school that we can't skip, is the draft, reviewing the draft, and then producing. They are ready to produce the final essay. So for next class, before we begin, I'm going to give you guys a little homework, that you find a topic, plan, and write an introduction. Okay, I'm going to leave my email in the chat box so that you can send that in. And then I'll only comment once we start our class. I'll leave everything nice and organized. And I'll send before that, I'll also reply in the email. So my email is in the chat box. So homework. You can either choose or elaborate. You can take an IELTS topic and elaborate just like we did today. Very well, so that's our homework for next class. But before we go, I'd like to know if there are any points, any questions. Would you like me to send this document that we worked on now as well?
That would be great.
Yes?
Thank you. Yes,
Okay,
thank you.
so I'll send that over to Dr. Siavash. He'll follow the slides. I'll send him the slides and this document, okay? Before we go, any other points? Do you feel that grammar is an issue with essay writing as well for the
Yes,
students?
definitely. Yes.
Okay, what points of grammar do you believe we should emphasize and give them a teaching session?
I think there's a
Punctuation?
variety of structures, punctuation. Yes.
Exactly. Connectors, using connectors, right? Okay. So I do have this class ready. I will share it with you guys as well. Punctuation and articles. I'm wrapping up my connectors because I used to teach straight from the board. I had never formally prepared the PPT. Now I'm finishing it, but today I will send in the articles and the punctuation, okay, which are two elements that I feel that many students make major mistakes. So material for you guys to go over and, like I said, adapt, as if it were your own. Well, it was lovely to be here with all of you. I hope this session was helpful and that it gave you some insight and inspiration. And we will be back next week with research project writing. Will you guys send in your homework?
Sure.
Good. I'll be a happy teacher getting homework in my email box.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Very nice to be here with you once again. It was lovely. And we'll meet again next week.
Sure. See you next
Have
time.
a lovely day,
You as
evening,
well.
depending where you are.
Bye.
Bye
Thank you.
now. Bye.
Bye.